Oh man, so as the market continues to be gloomy on this red Friday, Bitcoin down 1.25%, we've got one token which is standing head and shoulders somehow beyond the rest. It's the only token I can see here at the moment in the green, up 7% on Algorand. Yes, a coin we've been covering a lot on this channel, but haven't covered it in a little while as Phantom's been taking all the spotlight with its drama. But Algorand, as we speak, are breaking out from a key pattern. We're going to cover off what's going on with Algorand, how is it managing to outperform such a difficult market, and we're going to look at the key technical and fundamental levels on the chart here for Phantom. So make sure you hit up the white like button. Don't forget to subscribe. If you haven't watched my video from earlier, I do go into the macroeconomics and we look at Bitcoin and the Phantom chart. So make sure you go watch my video from a couple of hours earlier to get an understanding of what's going on in the economy, because the economy is really struggling right now. We had some big names in the red yesterday, from Facebook, from Amazon to Meta, Apple, Microsoft. Nobody is safe. Bitcoin down 9% yesterday, down another percent today. We had the jobs figure come in this morning showing again the labor market is tight. So things are looking worrying, and now you've got investors pondering whether we're going to be entering a recession. That is the backdrop we've got right now. But in the midst of that, whilst we're looking for lower bottoms and seeing when can we reverse on some of these coins, because we don't think that 36 is the bottom here for Bitcoin, there is room to fall some further more down. How is Algorand able to break out from trend here? Up 7.3% of the time recording this video. We're getting towards our neckline. Well, we've just broken through our neckline here at 67 cents, which is really impressive. You've got this W pattern forming, which if you break out from this nice W pattern, the technical target takes you all the way back to our support level of 74 cents, which is interesting because that was the last support level we had. You can see we got rejected there. The support turned into resistance when we tried to break through it earlier this month, a couple of days ago. And now we can see that that could potentially just get us back into that pattern. So an interesting pattern here. This is a nice W pattern where the right-hand side of the W is higher. So this is a higher low than the previous one. And this will be a nice move if you bought the dip here on Algorand at 61 cents, trading it up to 74. That's not a bad entry here on Algorand. But how is this overperforming? What is going on in the market? Well, the first thing we can point to is that Algorand have managed to score a partnership with FIFA. Now, this was huge, and it's kind of gone under the radar somewhat over the last couple of days. But they've managed to be the official regional supporter for the North America and Europe at this year's World Cup, an official sponsor of next year's Women's World Cup. So this is big, right? This is to help them further develop their digital asset strategy. So, you know, the kind of things you could do is you can think of, you know, the fan tokens and all these rewards, these giveaways. This could be a really big thing for Algorand. And obviously, you can see the price starting to respond, which is impressive. Now, I don't think that's the only case alone, because the reality is we're in a market today, literally right now, where the market is not taking any prisoners. It doesn't matter if you got a partnership. It doesn't matter if you've done some marketing. It doesn't matter if you're Phantom and you've launched Felix Exchange today. These types of news stories are not moving the market, and I'm adamant about that. But what is moving the market is people are looking for highly undervalued plays. And Algorand is exactly that. When you look, so let me use the analogy. When you're looking at the stock market, what's going on in the stock market right now? Investors are looking for companies which are profitable today, which have cash on their balance sheets today, and they're flocking to those, because if we're going to head to lower lows, if the economy is going to become more tumultuous, you need to be in those types of plays. You can't be in risky high growth plays with the promise of returns tomorrow. You can do that in a bull market. And it's the same for crypto. Nobody's got time right now to be in these plays which could potentially 1000x. They just want to rotate to the plays that have solid backing. And that is something like Algorand. If you look at their pure proof of stake model, if you look at the founding team with Silvio Macali, this is one of the soundest, technically speaking, layer one solutions out there. Couple that with the fact that they've got this new CEO, ex-corporate world, Stacey Warden, just goes to show that they're setting themselves up to make the right moves to put themselves in the right place. I think the market is suddenly starting to understand that this coin, I mean, if I go to the daily chart, you're going to understand what I'm talking about. This coin, which has been on this journey here to the downside, is hugely undervalued. I mean, we're talking an Algorand coin, which was as high as $2.55 in September 21. That's a space of, 6 to 9 months, right? Crazy. This is super low. And let's dip right down here towards 50, 55. Anybody who's buying at this point got a hugely impressive entry here on Algorand. I mean, to get to that price point, you're going as far back as January 2021. Imagine, before all of this, you're managing to pick up Algorand there. What a pullback. Hugely undervalued project. We know they do a lot of the backbone work behind what's going on in El Salvador, which is really impressive. in terms of their adoption of Bitcoin. And then when you kind of zoom out, you want to look at the wider trend. So let's look at the different timelines. We look at kind of Algorand sitting here on this weekly kind of megaphone pattern, and we were monitoring this for a while. It's just trying to bring in some support, right? Which is interesting that we're getting this kind of green candle, because if not, we would have lost this pattern to the downside, and things could really get gnarly for Algorand there. Right? Things could not, I mean, not where my mouse is going, that's gone into the negatives, but I mean, it really could start heading towards some lower price points on this weekly chart if you lose this pattern. So we need to see some bounce start to come in from Algorand. This is as, flat as you get on Algorand. This is super, super undervalued. And I think that is where investors are coming and saying, look, the wider market is down. Everything is down. I mean, just look at the list on this right-hand side. We're all down. But maybe, just maybe, we can get some greenness here on Algorand. Now, the only other coin which is kind of similarly reacting to that, like that, is Coti, which is holding flat / slightly positive today. And the reason Coti is doing that is obviously they've had their launch of their JED mainnet, which has been great. Charles Hodgkinson tweeted that. I retweeted it also as well, which is a big step for Coti. And these are the things that the market cares about now. They care about big fundamental improvements. They couldn't care for the headlines. They couldn't care for the fact that, your logo's on some Formula One car right now. We're not in the market for that right now. I mean, Jack Mallers stood on stage and said that he's integrated the Lightning Network into Cash App and into Shopify and all these platforms with all these POS merchants. And the market didn't budge, right? The state of the market right now is not going to move on small news. It needs to move on big fundamental progress, and that's all that's going to move the market right now. Literally, as we're speaking, Algorand up now 8% on the day. And just for me, definitely something that's in my portfolio, definitely something that has a small position in my layer one bucket of different plays which I invest in. And it's just a great project. I mean, if you look at it, you look at all the different things they're working on, the first green carbon neutral blockchain. You look at the fact that they've got an inbuilt layer 2 solution. You look at the fact that they've got Silvio Micali on their founding team. You look at the fact that it's pure proof of stake, which is one of the best ways of ensuring you got full decentralization, even better than proof of stake. Just a great blockchain, right? And definitely a lot of potentials in terms of CBDCs. We know what they're doing with El Salvador, this partnership with FIFA. A lot of things are going its way. Now, I've made clear in my other video where I query whether I'm going to sell my Algorand. I post that video up here for you guys to go watch. Make sure you go watch that after this one. I mention exactly what it would take for me to sell my Algorand. In other words, what do the team need to get right? And I'm going to be honest, they're on their final strike with me. They have to get this right. And if they don't get this piece right, then Algorand will be getting scaled out of my portfolio if they can't get this piece right. But for now, it's a hold. I'm bullish on the project. I like the project. And I think fundamentally, it's technologically far superior to other layer 1 chains out there, but there's a lot which they don't do as well as some of the other layer 1 blockchains. That is what I outlined in that video. So make sure you go watch that. I'm going to link it up here on the end cards. Make sure you go click that button and watch that video. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. As always, if you appreciate my content, don't forget to hit up the like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching this update, and I'll see you in the next one.